Broker Bulletin acknowledges the traditional custodians of all the lands across the country on which we record our podcast and pays its respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Welcome to the Broker Bulletin podcast, where better begins. Join us as we chat with brokers about what's working for them, what drives them, and the real challenges and wins that matter most right now.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Broker Bulletin. My name's Angela Tracey, I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Loan Market. I'm here today with Lauren Hall, who started her own business with Loan Market a year ago. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, next week's a year.
So it's been, I'd imagine, a bit of a ride the last 12 months. How are you feeling about your decision to go out on your own?
I feel like I should have made the decision a long time ago, to be fair. I was very, very ready, which is great. There's a lot of advantages to that. It just was taking on that new challenge. It was a leadership challenge for me to be able to step into that more with my team, which I hadn't probably leaned into that very much before that. Yeah, and just being excited about having a really clear vision around where I wanted to go. I definitely had lost that over the last few years, which I think is normal in that kind of structure previously. So now it's going, what am I building and what's my legacy and what do I want to be known for? Do I just want to be known as a mortgage broker or do I want to be known as more than that? And what kind of an impact can I make? And the older I'm getting, the more I'm discovering that that's important to me.
Yes.
It's been really exciting. It's been good. Not necessarily easy the last 12 months, but from a looking forward to the future, I'm very excited about that.
So what held you back? Was it confidence?
Yeah, I would say a big part was confidence.
What were you worried about?
I was worried about, I had a bit of an identity crisis, I think.
Yeah.
I'd been part of a business for nearly 9 years and I'd helped build that from a branding point of view. I felt like if I go out separately, who am I without that? Am I successful because of that business? So I did. I had a bit of an identity crisis and am I any good and can I do this? And as women, I feel like it's just nagging in the back there all the time, which is really frustrating. So it took a lot for me to go and again to revisit, hang on, what am I trying to build here? I definitely had lost that and there's a lot of discussion around what's your why and I've become quite cynical in that. So people keep talking about what's your why, whatever, I just need to work more. I need to do more hours. I just need to keep going and it will all work out. And I needed to really take a step back and go, well, hang on, what am I actually trying to do here? And it just got to a point where I was really, really ready.
What is your why?
The challenge I had was that this industry to start with is very demanding. When you're building a business, it's really demanding too as well, right? It's not like you sell ice cream and you pop down on a Saturday morning to the markets. There's huge hours. There's a lot of work. We work with people through really stressful situations. And I've always, I left home at 17 and started working. So it's very ingrained in me to do that. And that had become acceptable. And I hadn't gone, what am I trying to achieve here? It was just work. Yes. And then when I realized, well, what am I trying to build? Do I just want to be a mortgage broker or do I want to be more than that? Am I creating a business that is allowing me to live or is this business going to work me to death? And I went, well, hang on, I went into business because it's supposed to build a life that I want. That's not necessarily just making lots and lots of money, but that's being able to have the ability to work the hours I want to work, create a lifestyle, be able to plan things for the future. I wouldn't book holidays. I wouldn't book any time out because to me that needed to fit around work. And now I go, you know what, as a woman, I'm not a man. I actually can't work 6 days a week. I don't know how I did it, to be fair, and come every day with the same level of energy. We just physically can't do it. It probably felt like failure before to admit something like that. Whereas now I'm like, that is what it is. Yeah. That's my DNA. That's who I am. And there will be weeks or times where I don't have that level of energy that I do at other times. And that's okay. I don't have to prospect to that same level or I don't have to do 8 appointments back to back. I can leave at 2:00 on a Friday if I'm absolutely cooked. Whereas before that was failure to me. So there was a lot of personal pressure I put on myself, which is ridiculous when we think about it.
So I'd imagine setting up a business and the last 12 months hasn't been, as you said earlier, easy. It's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
So has it got you back to a place where you feel you're more in control?
Yeah, absolutely.
It has.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny because we've had times where we've been really quiet as a business and the financial pressure is probably higher, but for some weird reason I'm less stressed. And I think it's because I've just accepted this is okay. This is part of how business goes, and we're not going to be producing stupid amounts of numbers every single month back to back. I'm upskilling the team. We're diversifying right now. We're moving into asset finance. So we're in the process of getting the accreditations and learning that piece with one of my staff. So, there's work involved in that.
Are you writing asset as well, or are you teaching someone to do that?
Both. Yeah. So I'll do asset as part of bid because we do bid obviously for mortgages, but my support team will be involved in that with me in a similar way that they do now. So that's a new space for us. I personally moved into commercial a few years ago, which has been great. And I refer a fair amount out for asset. So it made sense to go, why don't we start to offer that in-house? We've had the time to upskill and learn. So again, it's leaning into that and going, that's okay. And that might mean that there's time dedicated to that where I'm not hunting for business as much because I'm focusing on upskilling and learning that and supporting my team, and that's okay. So the control piece for me it's not a micromanaging control piece. It's going, I can accept where we're at. I can control what I can control, some things I can't, and be at peace with that and maybe enjoy the journey a little bit more of being a business owner as opposed to just feeling like there's just constant pressure. And like I say, my mentality was very much, I just need to work more. Work more and do more on that.
Which is a trap in mortgage broking, isn't it?
Yeah.
So in your first 12 months then, how much time do you think you've spent on the business versus working in the business as a broker?
So it's actually a really interesting question because I'm doing a big workshop with Loan Market about this at the moment around the Elevate program and looking at where I'm spending that time, which has been great. And again, clarity around, what the calendar looks like and where I'm spending that time. So a big part of it is around being a broker and bringing business in because I'm that sole person that brings the business in to feed the team. So that is a big focus. But then also working on the business. So right now I allocate Fridays as a day for me to do leadership style things, to look at business processes. I try and have a project once a quarter. So my last quarter project was AI, which just seems to snowball. And I think probably will continue for a few quarters because I'm still wrapping my head around it a little bit. Correct. I don't think we're ever just going to be like, oh, that project's done and move on. So Friday for me has become a day to do that, to do some networking with referrers to make sure that time is allocated. And look, I might still slot a couple of client meetings in, but it's more going, that time is set for that. So at the moment, that's my Friday. To be fair, Monday to Thursday is still very much client focused and appointment focused, but the team do a lot of the background work for me. So there's a lot of free time, I suppose, for me to be bringing business in.
Yeah. In the last 12 months, two questions actually. What's been the biggest challenge? And are you still in that position where you lie awake at night wondering where your next client is coming from?
The biggest challenge is definitely balancing the being a broker and being a business owner. Also leaning into the leadership piece. So with my team, understanding that the work they do is actually only half of really what leadership is about. And I had a conversation with another business owner the other day around, do you think the team ever get to a 10 out of 10? I said, well, I think the challenge is from a work skill point of view and a productivity point of view, yes, but we also have people's personal worlds, right, that affect all of that. So that's been my biggest challenge, is leaning into a conversation with one of my team, to be honest, feeling a bit nervous personally and going, oh my goodness, how's this conversation going to go? Not necessarily about work, but also the personal things that they work through and how can I support them in that? Because again, my personal headspace has been work first, personal afterwards. So it's been a big shift for me. We've made changes around hours. We've made changes around roles around giving them extra RDOs and things which for me are not a big deal. You know, traffic is a challenge for one of them. For me, my personal mindset would be, I would just come in earlier and go later, you know,
Yes.
but that can be that's a big issue. How do I show I care and support them when they do really great work, and being flexible around that because it is different now for people and everyone has different challenges.
Sometimes too, it's difficult to recognise times when you should be celebrating for them. It's easy just to take it as BAU and, yep, let's get on to the next deal and everything. I think that's
100%. And I had some feedback and I sort of giggled because I thought, you know, you catch up and do, we don't really call it a performance review, but a review. I'm like, sometimes I feel like that's more about me than it's about them. You know, and my feedback or the feedback I get, which is, hey, let's celebrate more, or we need to feel more like we're doing a good job. And I go, I feel like I'm saying that, right? But again, what I need from an affirmation point of view is different to what other people need from an affirmation point of view. And I loved that my team felt comfortable that they could say, hey, can you maybe get a little bit more excited about the things
Can
we
you
do?
give us something?
Can you give us something? And I'm like, cool, I love that. And yes, and what does that look like for you guys, right? Because for me, my version of celebrating success is different to theirs.
Yeah.
So it's super exciting, but definitely has been my biggest challenge. I don't lie awake wondering where the next deal's coming from, and that's probably not a big stress. I'm just very curious about that.
Okay.
I've had to rebuild some referral relationships due to changes to those business structures. I've taken on a new relationship, which is very different, which is from a community school point of view.
Yes.
So I'm curious and excited about that. It's taking time for that to, I suppose, show a return on the investment if you were looking purely at numbers. But for me, I'm more excited about the bigger strategy and where we're going. So I'm trying not to get too overwhelmed by the dollars and cents right now and go, am I doing the activities and am I doing the things that I know it's going to produce? It's not going to produce today, but long term is it going to produce? And that's where I think about building that sustainable business long term. The relationship takes longer than being super transactional. Sure, I need the loans right now to pay the bills, but if I focus on building good quality relationships, that business will come and it will be more sustainable long term.
How would you describe your leadership style?
My leadership style. So I'm a very glass half full person. So I bounce out of bed in the morning. I'm very excited about the day. I feel like I can change and lift energy easily and well, and I think that's important. I did have some great feedback from our state manager around learning to take your people into the future, and I really liked that, and that has been something I'm constantly thinking about, going, are they with me on the journey? Do they believe we're making a difference? You know, do we sit there every day and go, we just give people a loan?
Yes.
You know, why are we doing this? And do we feel personal satisfaction and joy in what we do? So I'm really trying to make sure my team feel that and they're there with me, because the client can feel that. You know, when we care or when we believe we're making a difference, they can feel that. I'm very clear in, I suppose, what my expectations are. So the team know this is how we want the process to go. This is how we want the client to feel through that journey. And I believe a lot around hands-on training.
Yes.
So with my team, we do a lot of one-on-one sessions. I want them to understand why we do what we do. It's really important to me that we have a lot of depth in our skill level. I think you can come into this industry and you can know a little bit about everything along the surface. We need to have depth. We need to really understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. And I want my team to feel that as well. So I think you can't put someone in a room and just expect them to know what to do. So we're all in together. The team here on my conversations for the first 6 months, one of my new staff, everything was on speaker. She did everything in with me. I fire a lot of questions at them. We're very engaging from a learning point of view. And I do think that's something I do well because that's how I learned.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how I was taught. So
your business mantra, or I'm not sure how you coin it, but creating futures. So is that your team vision? Together you're creating futures?
Yeah, 100%. And that was a mind shift for me because for a long time I knew I was good at what I did and I was satisfied in that space, but I didn't actually really understand how important property is. And I started to do some research around this, and I really appreciate, hang on, we do make a difference here. And property it's in our DNA, but it also creates stability and it helps people create a legacy and something to pass on to their children. So that concept of creating futures fitted in really nicely when I personally understood how what we do makes a difference.
It's a good rallying cry, really, isn't it, for you? Probably, you're looking for that purpose, that greater purpose.
Yeah.
Not just writing loans, but actually helping people get ahead.
And that's what I think about what if I look at my legacy, it's not just, I had a really successful mortgage broking business. It's what did I do that makes a lasting impact? And again, that's where it's not just, hey, here's your home loan, good luck. My value to the client is I'm actually here for you for life. I joke, you have me for life. It's creepy. But we're in it together, right? Because I want you to pay the debt off and we want to leverage our position and we want to be really strategic. It's not just a transactional loan.
Yes.
So you can come to me and I'll get you a great loan, but that's actually not really where our value is.
Yeah.
And again, that was why we diversified into the other spaces around the commercial and the asset as well, as I go, well, then I can support you in the best way in that journey because I have the whole picture. I know overall what we're trying to achieve, and getting that call from the client, hey, we've paid the house off, or now we're moving to our next home, or, my little first home buyers at 19, still some of my proudest moments is those really young clients who have sold that property, now have a family, have their own, family homes, are looking at investments.
So rewarding.
Like, that's rewarding. What we do, right?
Yeah.
How amazing is that? And then I meet with other clients who are in their 40s and are still renting, and I see that financial stress and I go, far out. That little 19-year-old that we helped for 12 months that I spoke to, gosh, every couple of weeks, how's the saving going? Oh, I got a little job promotion. I'm earning a bit more. I'm paying my car loan off. Really, from a cost point of view as a business, it's huge, all that amount of time that we put in. But when I actually see the difference that makes for them and how it sets them up, that's what it's about.
So rewarding.
That's what it's about.
Yeah. Well, that loan market, similar to your mantra, is education, financial literacy, et cetera, is in our DNA. So I know you're doing a lot in that space. What are you doing in the community to help build financial literacy? Yeah,
perfect. So one of the new spaces I've started working in over the last 18 months is being more hands-on in direct financial education. So this is particularly with one of the big local high schools here on the coast. So they're senior students, so 15 to 17-year-olds. I had a conversation with the principal in the PNC around the gap in financial educational literacy. And again, when I did a lot of research around this, I really understood that as a country, we don't do very well. Financial literacy improves with age because we learn as we go, right? There's no actual formal education around that. And I'm sorry, but, one of the big banks opening Dolomite accounts for 5-year-olds is not financial literacy. That's just not enough.
Yeah.
So I have 4 sessions that I do with the senior school. So we actually physically go in and do that. And that's breaking down things like the Fair Work site and understanding pay slips and tax, super HECS. That's moving into things like Afterpay, Zip Pay, credit cards, car loans. What's a credit file? Understanding what these things mean, because these students are already working. They have part-time jobs. So when they turn 18, they're going to qualify to borrow money straight away, right? But they don't have any education around how these facilities work. And we see it on the ground because we then see them a few years later when they come to us and we go, wow, we've got a $100,000 student loan for a degree that we got in this sector, and now we're, doing something completely different. And we have personal loans, car loans. So the education around how those facilities work so they can make better decisions and they don't have to learn the hard way. That's a big one. Things around budgeting and saving. If you're going to go and take out a pay in 4 facility for the new iPhone, why don't we just save for it over 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks? But we live in a world where we need to have it right now. My goal with that is not just to educate them, but they take that home. They're talking to mum and dad and their siblings and they're saying, hey, mum, have you got a credit card? Can I have a look at the statement? Let's see how much interest we're going to pay. Those kind of things that we don't learn or are taught. So that's been hugely successful. The response from that's been really good. And I love that that's actually making a long-term difference. We don't talk about home loans, completely irrelevant. We're talking about basic financial education, things that are going to help them make better decisions.
Love that. So you're also doing a podcast as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Is that because you're wanting to empower people with knowledge as well?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And the purpose of the podcast was, firstly, there is a lot of information out there. And there's no hype. There's no smoke and mirrors. This stuff isn't about getting eyeballs on social media. It's about clear, easy to understand information that's relevant for each generation. So we break it down for your millennials, your Gen Z, your boomers, and it's relevant to them. We want it to be simple and clear as opposed to this is the hot new thing that's going right now. Yeah. So again, that's a big part of that. It's obviously free. We do that once a month. Yeah. And we get, again, good feedback around it being nice and clear and simple.
Yeah. What is your grand vision? You're talking about you became a business owner to really work out what you want to be when you grow up, essentially. What is it?
Yeah. So I don't have any interest, I suppose, in having a business that from the outside looks extremely successful when myself and all my team are feeling really stressed. So again, I'm not interested in the smoke and mirrors stuff or how it looks. I want a business where we're small and agile. Again, we can move quickly with things like AI, or we can shift to where the customer need or customer demand is, that is still focused around a great experience where it's not, that's too hard or the client situation's too difficult. We go, that's okay. We're actually here to help you and we have capacity to do that. I really want to be seen as someone, not be seen, will be someone in the community who actually cares, who is an expert in our local area, who's really community focused. And it's not just about me writing loans. It's also about, again, helping people make a difference long term. So I would love a small team where we all have our personal goals around what being successful means to each of us. And we can build a little business that makes a profit that allows me to do the things that I want to do, but doesn't require me to be physically at my desk from 7 till 7, 6 days a week. That's not a life. It needs to be more than that, or why am I running a business?
A couple more questions then around your business brand, so Loan Market. What does that brand mean to you?
Yeah, brand's really important to me. I need to be proud to stand next to a brand, and that's something I've experienced previously where I have had that and where I haven't had that. So it goes back even for me to my first introductions to Loan Market and how I felt working with the corporate team. My first experience meeting Sam, which I talked to him a little about, which he wouldn't even remember, right? But this makes a big impression on me. And I was just a little new kid back then. I wasn't a franchise owner then. So working with a brand that lives their values, doesn't just talk about this is what we do, actually does it and feels that. And I feel that. I feel like Loan Market want all of their franchise owners and businesses to be successful, and that can look different ways. It doesn't have to look a certain way. Very focused around growth and growing businesses with teams, which I love. So there's a lot of support around that. But it's okay to have your own journey and what that looks like. They really care about their people, which is important to me as well. And as a brand, we've never been, I suppose the brand's been built on word of mouth.
Yes.
And we've been extremely successful without all of the fancy marketing, purely based on just providing a really great service. And that's crazy, because I think then leaning into a space where we can do more brand awareness and marketing, we're already so successful just because we've done a great job. We've almost been a bit of a secret in some ways. And now we can go out and tell people, hey, this is actually what we do. So it's exciting to be part of a brand that I feel wants to take their brokers into the future. That's, again, trying to be agile and looking at ways where we can now leverage all this great stuff that we've been doing for 10, 15, 20 years and actually get it out there.
Yeah, so in summary, if we can summarize it where we've got to from here, is you became a business owner to really refine your purpose for what you do every day.
Yeah.
And it sounds like what you've come back to is you found your purpose as opposed to found a business. You found a real reason for coming to work every day.
Yeah.
And it's much bigger than just writing loans. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And you need to have that because it's still, even though I say, I'm not going to work 6 days a week and 7 till 7, it's still a demanding job, right? Well, a demanding industry to be in. So you have to love it. For me, I have to. Otherwise, the small things will really get you down and they become really overwhelming because things don't always go right. People are stressed. There's lots of things that are out of our control that we try to control, right, to help the client have a great experience. So if there's not a bigger why, I think it's really overwhelming and it's really hard. So for me, those days where things don't go well or the transaction's not going well or the client's been challenging because they're really stressed, to go, well, hang on, at the end of this, we're helping this person get ahead and set them up for life. And that's why we're doing it. So yeah, I have to have that. And I'm really leaning into that and I'm using that a lot in conversations with my team and with clients. And that's probably why I'm not lying awake at night as stressed because I'm not getting overwhelmed by the small things in right now.
You're delivering on your purpose.
Yeah.
What is your finish line?
To have a business where I'm allocating a specific amount of time, let's say maybe 20% of my week, that is focused more on just giving back. As opposed to just writing loans. I look at the type of client we want to work with, the local area we want to work with. I think the goal is always that we have a business that we can sell, is something that's bigger than just me.
Yes.
So a brand that's not just about me, so that in the future I could sell that business to someone. Our clients are engaged. It's a profitable business. The team are engaged. That's always the end goal.
Yeah.
And I think you have to go into a business going, is it saleable? So there's always that side of it, but also around a business where, I have freedom to explore other interests that aren't just about sitting at the desk writing loans.
And finally, what piece of advice would you give someone else who's a year away from being where you are today? So they're working in a business and questioning really the why.
Yeah.
What advice would you give them?
You need to have clarity around why you're part of a business. So we had lots of conversations around value propositions over time, and that changed, over time. And it just got to a point where we had outgrown the structure and I was ready to move into that. So the grass is not necessarily always greener. You need to have financially, you need to be able to take that next step in and do that. And the business is not necessarily just going to come in the door. You need to accept that if you want to bring on a team, you need to spend the time.
Yes.
Otherwise, they're going to come in, they're not going to be engaged, they're not going to get the support, and they're going to move on. So you have to be at a level where you've got a structure, where you can support a team with upskilling and training, and also financially be able to handle the fact that you might have quieter months and quieter times. So understand the value proposition around why you're part of a business. If that works mutually for both of you, fantastic, but don't let a lack of confidence or I can't do it hold you back from making the next step if everything else checks out. Because for me, everything else checked out. I had the team, I was bringing business in. Financially, I could take that next step. My lack of confidence was the reason why I hesitated for so long, which was probably a shame.
How can we get more females like you into finance and into broking?
I think and I don't know how to do this, but as an industry, we need to change what success looks like, because we all sit around and we say, oh, what's your version of success? And what's your version of success? And we go, oh, that's great for you. But as an industry, this is how we measure success, right? And we have awards everywhere, which are all built around volume and settled commission. And it's just, I think it's really overwhelming when, as a female, you're going, we can do it. There's no way we can't do it, but we are not built like men. Okay. And if you want to have a family or you don't want to work those kind of hours or operate like that or physically can't operate like that, that gets really disheartening, and we think we can't achieve that. So we need to shift away as an industry from just being these huge, big businesses that write stupid amounts of volume to going, how can we have businesses where our business owners have good mental health, where success is going, actually, I can run a business that's profitable, but be spending time with my family,
Yes.
or spending time with my kids, and I'm not lying awake at night worried about how I'm going to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, the top line doesn't reflect how successful that business is. But as an industry, that's how we continue to market and measure success. And I think that puts women off, because I'm extremely competitive personally, and a lot of us are, and I love beating the boys. It's very satisfying. But to accept that it actually doesn't matter about that. What matters is to build a business that suits me, and I don't care what that looks like to other people, and that doesn't mean I have to be the biggest writer here or I have to do that. Just build a business that's successful. And I think we need to start to market that as an industry more and support our business owners more
to deliver on your version of success.
Instead of asking, and we all ask, what's your version of success? But then what do we do with that?
Yeah.
You know, and I've had conversations.
Nothing. You're absolutely right. Now I think about it, nothing's adjusted because of that.
I love that. But, now you need to build huge teams and you need to write more. And so, well, hang on a minute, that's not my version of success. So, you know, when we go to conferences and seminars and we have all these awards, who are the people that what's the word I want? Who are we promoting? I don't know if that's the word we want, or who are we putting up on a pedestal and saying, this is the model? Is it just the person who's writing, and you know, it's males and females that are extremely successful. Is that suddenly what success should be for all of us? Or actually should we get people in a room that go, I've built a business that is profitable and I have great retention in my team and my staff are happy and I can pay them well. Is that actually what success is? And I don't know how to fix that problem because it's not necessarily measurable from
it's also
an awards point
quite
of view, right?
a large problem.
Yeah.
It's an industry problem too. It's a good insight actually about all the awards nights and that.
And that's where, you know, things like Loan Market having the leading ladies has been amazing. And that's been a shift for me, right? Because originally when I first looked at that, I went, just why are we having these conversations, right? Because I didn't get it. And now I get it. And now I love being able to be part of a community where, you know, and I go, we're so clever because as women, we build these really successful little businesses and we do it with children and with husbands and with all this stuff. We think differently. Okay, because we're going, we need to be successful without working this huge amount of hours. So our processes are tighter. We're more efficient. We get more done in a day because we have less hours when we have all of these other things to juggle. And when you delve into that and when you get some of these women in a situation where they share that, you go, that modelling is so good, as opposed to the traditional, we'll just work these hours. Every week looks exactly the same.
It's kind of where you came from. It's like just work harder.
Correct.
You felt you needed to work longer hours to be successful.
Yeah. And then I go, well, I'm in the office on a Saturday. What am I doing? You know, do I actually need to be here? Or am I just being here for the sake of it because I'm thinking, well, that is just what I need to do to be successful. And designing a week or a month based around us. So we need to get into more of those businesses, I think, and share more success around what they're doing, because that's where I'm excited now, is I feel like I've got an edge. I've got an edge, and this is not a sexist remark, but I feel like I've got an edge against the boys because I'm not prepared to do those hours anymore.
Yes. So you're going to work smarter,
differently.
Yes.
I'm very curious around, actually, no, I'm not going to be in here all day Saturday, but I still need to write a certain amount of business to pay the bills and be successful. So what else can I do? No, I'm not prepared to do some of those other things. So it's been a real curiosity shift for me. And now I'm talking to different people, right? I want to be the rooms that I wanted to be in before. I don't want to be in those rooms now. I want to talk to different people. And I'm watching different people on social media and on podcasts. And it's not about how much business you write. I'm going, how are you running your business? And again, you know, what's your goal or your outcome? So I'm much more curious around that.
Amazing. So what changed there when just talking candidly? I don't know if we're still being...
We went off on a bit of a tangent, I think.
But the energy that came out then when you started talking about the fact that you're now being the version of you want to be.
Yeah, it is.
That's what's brought life into you. Yeah.
And we just get overwhelmed and bombarded with everything and the noise. Yeah.
And feeling like you need to fit a mold. It's true. It's so true. Yeah.
So it's exciting to be.
And our industry is like legacy-wise, it does have all these preconceptions about what success is and who is successful. There's real paradigms around that. And there's so much optics in it. You can say that you're writing blah, 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 whatever it is. Doesn't mean you're making any money, nor is your team happy or going to be with you tomorrow.
And the mental health question. Are we feeling okay? Are we spending time with our kids? And again, I don't know how that's necessarily measurable as an industry, but I think we should be making that more a version of success or elevating people who have created businesses where they have a life and are actually really genuinely happy.
Yeah.
And
delivering great outcomes to customers.
100%. 100%. We just need to shift our mindset on that.
Brilliant.
I'm really excited and I'm very probably curious is probably the biggest word for me moving forward.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Like I got a lot of energy out of feeling your energy and you can see the shift over the last 12 months. You've found your purpose and you've got your mojo back, I reckon.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Broker Bulletin. We would hate for you to miss an episode. Subscribe to Broker Bulletin in your favourite podcast app. Has this episode been helpful? We'd love you to rate and review us. It'll help us deliver content that's useful to you and help others discover us. If you have great ideas for topics worth tackling or have burning questions you'd like addressed on an upcoming episode, reach out. Links in the show notes. See you next time.